protection, conservation, and management of world heritage. We want to uncover untold stories to broaden our views on heritage practices and future perspectives. Knowledge gathered this year will be published in 2022 on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Convention. The Our World Heritage Initiative is created by individuals working on 100% voluntary capacity. We would like to point out that Our World Heritage provides an open dialogue platform that is based on voluntary work of session organizers and speakers. Our World Heritage welcomes diverse viewpoints in the spirit of collegial debate where mutual respect is afforded to all. Please note that the expressed views do not necessarily reflect the official position of Our World Heritage. We thank today's speakers for telling their stories, and we thank you, the listeners, for your kind interest and questions. If you want to remain up to date on our activities, you can follow our social media. We maintain channels in multiple languages to break through the language barriers and connect to local communities. You will find all links on our website, ourworldheritage.org. Thank you for being with us today, and we wish you a very fruitful event. Welcome to Our World Heritage 2021 Debate. 2021 Debate is a year of events focused on protection, conservation, and management of world heritage. We want to uncover untold stories to broaden our views on heritage practices and future perspectives. Knowledge gathered this year will be published in 2022 on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Convention. The Our World Heritage Initiative is created by individuals working on 100% voluntary capacity. We would like to point out that Our World Heritage provides an open dialogue platform that is based on voluntary work of session organizers and speakers. Our World Heritage welcomes diverse viewpoints in the spirit of collegial debate where mutual respect is afforded to all. Please note that the expressed views do not necessarily reflect the official position of Our World Heritage. We thank today's speakers for telling their stories, and we thank you, the listeners, for your kind interest and questions. If you want to remain up to date on our activities, you can follow our social media. We maintain channels in multiple languages to break through the language barriers and connect to local communities. You will find all links on our website, ourworldheritage.org. Thank you for being with us today, and we wish you a very fruitful event. Welcome to Our World Heritage 2021 Debate. 2021 Debate is a year of events focused on protection, conservation, and management of world heritage. We want to uncover untold stories to broaden our views on heritage practices and future perspectives. Knowledge gathered this year will be published in 2022 on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Convention. The Our World Heritage Initiative is created by individuals working on 100% voluntary capacity. We would like to point out that Our World Heritage provides an open dialogue platform that is based on voluntary work of session organizers and speakers. Our World Heritage welcomes diverse viewpoints in the spirit of collegial debate where mutual respect is afforded to all. Please note that the expressed views do not necessarily reflect the official position of our World Heritage. We thank today's speakers for telling their stories, and we thank you, the listeners, for your kind interest and questions. If you want to remain up to date on our activities, you can follow our social media. We maintain channels in multiple languages to break through the language barriers and connect to local communities. You will find all links on our website, ourworldheritage.org. Thank you for being with us today, and we wish you a very fruitful event. Welcome to our World Heritage 2021 debate. 2021 debate is a year of events focused on protection, conservation, and management of World Heritage. We want to uncover untold stories to broaden our views on heritage practices and future perspectives. Knowledge gathered this year will be published in 2022 on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Convention. The Our World Heritage Initiative is created by individuals working on 100% voluntary capacity. We would like to point out that Our World Heritage provides an open dialogue platform that is based on voluntary work of session organizers and speakers. Our World Heritage welcomes diverse viewpoints in the spirit of collegial debate where mutual respect is afforded to all. Please note that the expressed views do not necessarily reflect the official position of our World Heritage. We thank today's speakers for telling their stories, and we thank you, the listeners, for your kind interest and questions. If you want to remain up to date on our activities, you can follow our social media. We maintain channels in multiple languages to break through the language barriers and connect to local communities. You will find all links on our website, ourworldheritage.org. Thank you for being with us today, and we wish you a very fruitful event. Welcome to our World Heritage 2021 debate. 2021 debate is a year of events focused on protection, conservation, and management of World Heritage. We want to uncover untold stories to broaden our views on heritage practices and future perspectives. Knowledge gathered this year will be published in 2022 on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Convention. The Our World Heritage Initiative is created by individuals working on 100% voluntary capacity. We would like to point out that Our World Heritage provides an open dialogue platform that is based on voluntary work of session organizers and speakers. Our World Heritage welcomes diverse viewpoints in the spirit of collegial debate where mutual respect is afforded to all. Please note that the expressed views do not necessarily reflect the official position of our World Heritage. We thank today's speakers for telling their stories, and we thank you, the listeners, for your kind interest and questions. If you want to remain up to date on our activities, you can follow our social media. We maintain channels in multiple languages to break through the language barriers and connect to local communities. You will find all links on our website, ourworldheritage.org. Thank you for being with us today, and we wish you a very fruitful event. Welcome to our World Heritage 2021 debate. 2021 debate is a year of events focused on protection, conservation, and management of World Heritage. We want to uncover untold stories to broaden our views on heritage practices and future perspectives. Knowledge gathered this year will be published in 2022 on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Convention. The Our World Heritage Initiative is created by individuals working on 100% voluntary capacity. We would like to point out that Our World Heritage provides an open dialogue platform that is based on voluntary work of session organizers and speakers. Our World Heritage welcomes diverse viewpoints in the spirit of collegial debate where mutual respect is afforded to all. Please note that the expressed views do not necessarily reflect the official position of Our World Heritage. We thank today's speakers for telling their stories, and we thank you, the listeners, for your kind interest and questions. If you want to remain up to date on our activities, you can follow our social media. We maintain channels in multiple languages to break through the language barriers and connect to local communities. You will find all links on our website, ourworldheritage.org. Thank you for being with us today, and we wish you a very fruitful event. Welcome to our World Heritage 2021 debate. 2021 debate is a year of events focused on protection, conservation, and management of World Heritage. We want to uncover untold stories to broaden our views on heritage practices and future perspectives. Knowledge gathered this year will be published in 2022 on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Convention. The Our World Heritage Initiative is created by individuals working on 100% voluntary capacity. We would like to point out that Our World Heritage provides an open dialogue platform that is based on voluntary work of session organizers and speakers. Our World Heritage welcomes diverse viewpoints in the spirit of collegial debate where mutual respect is afforded to all. Please note that the expressed views do not necessarily reflect the official position of Our World Heritage. We thank today's speakers for telling their stories, and we thank you, the listeners, for your kind interest and questions. If you want to remain up to date on our activities, you can follow our social media. We maintain channels in multiple languages to break through the language barriers and connect to local communities. You will find all links on our website, ourworldheritage.org. Thank you for being with us today, and we wish you a very fruitful event. Welcome to our World Heritage 2021 debate. 2021 debate is a year of events focused on protection, conservation, and management of World Heritage. We want to uncover untold stories to broaden our views on heritage practices and future perspectives. Knowledge gathered this year will be published in 2022 on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Convention. The Our World Heritage Initiative is created by individuals working on 100% voluntary capacity. We would like to point out that Our World Heritage provides an open dialogue platform that is based on voluntary work of session organizers.
Olá, bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite a todos. É um prazer estar aqui. Em primeiro lugar, eu queria dizer que essa sessão será realizada em português, mas com uma tradução simultânea em inglês para os que desejarem acompanhar.
Follow. This session is a special project session that are part of this month of activities, month of June, in the Global Heritage Initiative uh, within the New Heritage Approaches theme. This discussion is part of an initiative for to add to UNESCO Convention the issues of heritage and the contemporary heritage. As I said, this month is dedicated to these new approaches. So I want to thank the coordinator, Monica Schlitte, and Vera Tangari from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, that has organized all this month of activities. I am Flávia Brito. I am a professor of the Faculty of Architecture and Urbanism of the University of São Paulo, and I am this session's moderator. This special project session, first of all, has the goal to introduce a series of videos and films and projects of uh, to discuss the theme, and all this material is available on YouTube and also in the link that is available in YouTube and here at the Zoom if you want to follow these videos immediately right after the session. These projects, in its majority, belong to young professionals, young researchers, whose themes are related to these proposals of new approaches to heritage, new approaches of the urbanized world, participatory project, issues regarding art and heritage, and the relationship between heritage education as a tool to access citizenship, expression of local identities, and democratization of patrimony. Such narratives will wish to discuss series of cultural and contemporary aspects conduct through research that call on this number of challenges of the contemporary political moment in Brazil. Such narratives aim to rescue the speech and give voice, better speaking, to vulnerable populations and show the work of using creativity, inventivity of such Brazilian artists that has been working with a lot of focus on such projects. So we have 4 special projects that we choose for this month. The first one is NAU Cultural project. The second one is mapping the day-to-day of the youth regarding heritage. And the fourth is Memories of the Future, and also the Full Tide of Film, High Tide of Cinema project. So now I'm going to give the floor to Professor Rubem de Andrade. He's our partner in this project. He participates directly linked to this project. He's from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro in the School of Beaux-Arts. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. It's a pleasure to be here in this session of special projects, and above all, due to the importance that such discussions has today. It's together with Professor Mônica Bahia and series of participates, but actors of this project, we were able to build interesting agenda to reflect on new approaches to heritage. And some of them has this tone of originality. I am a professor in the Beaux-Arts school, so I have direct access to a series of issues regarding art production, things that have been conducted in the contemporarity of undergraduates, people linked to university, and also a field of other artists that have been producing in a diverse of areas, and that also focus on new approaches to heritage. The project, Memories of the Future, is a project born from the interest of highlighting contemporary artistic production from artists linked to different fields of activity. The purpose of this movement is to be so we have many artists linked to music, film, and visual arts. The purpose of this movement is to build plural dialogues between art, culture, society, and heritage, considering the main agenda of this month's international webinar, New Approaches to Heritage. The proposals are linked to this project, and we have partners in the PPP project together with the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro Architecture University, as well as of the São Paulo University Architecture School, and a series of research groups that are always conducting activities such as the hybrid landscapes of the School of Fine Arts and the research group System of Free Spaces, CEL. So today we are launching the videos that have been conducted with me, Rubens, and also with Professor Monica, and also with the group of the Memories of the Future that are going to share these proposals. Be very welcome to get to know the memories of the future. Thank you, Rubens. Now I want to give the floor to Monica Bahia Schle. She is the coordinator of this project as well as of this month of activities. Thank you, Flavia. I'm Monica Bahia Schle. I'm a landscape architect and also urban planner. I work as a professor in the graduation course of heritage and landscape design in the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. It's a great pleasure that today I'm here to introduce these two projects. The NAU Cultural project has already been going on since 2009. And for those who have already watched the videos that's been made available in the page of New Heritage webpage, New Approaches to Heritage webpage, you can see the richness of this project, retrieving, getting our roots and the powerfulness and richness of Brazilian culture. On the other hand, the Memories of the Future is a pilot project that started during the preparations of this global webinar, New Approaches to Heritage. I'm not going to take much longer because Victoria is going to introduce this project for us. These two projects are part of a broader project, which is a partnership just beginning the result of this partnership between research group Hybrid Landscapes and the professional master degree in design and heritage of the Brazilian Architects Institute. This partnership has the goal to create an inventory of projects and good practices of social participation, heritage education, and the articulation between art and heritage as tool for access to citizenship, expression of local identities and tensions, and the democratization of heritage. So now, again, I'm going to give the floor to Flavia, and thank very much your presence. So let's see the projects. We'll start with the NAU Cultural project, and I'm going to now call Isabela Carpena. She's the art director, curator, and is part of the NAU Cultural, graduated in international relations. She has been researched between art production and social political environment since 2010. So please, Isabela Catena, you now have the floor.
Todos, é uma honra estar aqui. A gente vai apresentar o projeto. Eu sou Isabela, esse é Felipe Petan, meu parceiro e sócio. Vai.
We are going to introduce the project. I am Isabela Carpena, and here is Felipe Pitanga, my partner in the project, and it's a pleasure to be here. I am a poet, a musician, also graduated in international relations. We've been already 10 years researching popular Brazilian art, popular culture in Brazil. Our focus is to shed light and give protagonism to the series of artists that are spread out throughout the most distant areas of our large Brazilian territory. Our it's as if it's a project. We don't have any desire to profit from that. Our main goal is to that the will of Brazilian popular art to keep it moving and bring about some sort of um, protagonism and social acknowledgement of this art for these artists, and also financial rewards. Our goal is not just producing and documenting all this, focusing on academic research, but also this desire of bring to the Brazilian our own art, people, the art of our people. We believe that since in Brazil we never had much valuation of our own art, so we see that we need to reinvent our eyes in a way that we see our aesthetics. How are our traces? Does our people mold? And what is behind all that? Our goal, our desire is to build a bridge between traditional culture with these forms of producing. So we are building this bridge regarding craftsmanship, popular art, and our project is structured based on travels. So our methodology, our structure starts from the body. Our personal research, we dive deep and to get to know the series of manifestations of our culture, dances, popular artists, folguedos, always going personally, visiting, getting to know, participating. We have a very close relationship. We establish a close relationship with the people with work, a relationship of exchange. So our method was we have bought a combi, a truck, and we go on the road doing these visits and documenting. We started registering these meetings that for us, meetings that were very rich. And as we share about them with people, we relate, people wanted to know who are these artists, what's their landscapes, where are they born, how they think, how they speak, how they create, how they see themselves in their own work. So we've used such resources to bring these two ends together to those that we wanted to share the research with this richness, this wealth of the direct meeting with the artists. And in this way, we have been learning a lot regarding ways of life, values, and even the techniques are very complex. And sometimes people think of craftsmanship as something basic, but that's not the truth. There's a whole process and a special relation with nature and the natural assets. And also how have these meetings were able to give birth to a rediscover of culture. What is what each piece of art carries, especially made by hand. They carry a trajectory, an imaginary. So, how much of our culture is being portrayed in such documents? We see such expressions as documents of our history, and all this research, we see it as rescuing our own history based on another approach, which is not the approach of the books, is an approach of how this our history is engraved in the people's bodies and in their expression. So now talking about the methodology, we have a criteria for selecting these people. First of all, affection. How is the meeting? How does the meeting take place? How we connect with the people as well as with their ways of expression. There is a curatorial aspect of identifying potency there according to our own perception, and also artists that are not already well known.
Vendem e expõem trabalhos de arte.
There are artists that sell and popular art, but we are not interested in those. We are interested in those that are not well known, not already publicized. In these last 10 years of our work, there were many interesting cases in which the piece of art that we publicize, there are some that become famous. You know, you can look at it in our Instagram. There are now many galleries in São Paulo showing his work. And we've been working with him since already 10 years. So little by little, we have been giving this leading position to him. So we write texts about his work, we take pictures, we do like home media work, but the focus is the artist. We don't bring the focus to ourselves. The artists are the focus and in their aesthetics. And after a long run, there was a boom of these artists. And today he has hired, I think, 6 people, 6 assistants to help him in the production, because he has received so much commissions in the galleries of São Paulo. So he created this good structure, and this generates dignity and acknowledgement in a series of states in Brazil. The artist is the leading role, has the leading position, especially in the state of Pernambuco or Alagoas, both in the northeast of Brazil. And now some of those artists are now considered a life heritage and are receiving an important wage. Of course, those are policies that are restricted to some already known artists that have become known. But our role, in fact, is to mediate that, to open doors, you know. So we are showing the history, the works of art, and how this can be used, because because it's the art investment that the accountability of our work is the selling of these pieces that generate income to the artists, just to make this very clear. So we have this approach of interfering without harming. In Portuguese, is interferir sem ferir. Um, so we make sometimes conceptual proposals of some artists to create some works, and also regarding logistic structure, how the packaging of a work of art, sometimes it's a challenge. What distance them from the possibility of supporting themselves sometimes is this um, uh, aspects of logistics. For example, Louisa is an artist that she sent us all her works all broken apart in pieces. So 4 boxes of ceramic broken. This hurts and it's a very hurtful experience. So we give this sort of support. Also in so many aspects.
Acho que a gente pode falar do Célio Roberto, que é ele é artesão lá de
Now
Pernambuco.
to speak about Célio Roberto, he's a craftsman from Pernambuco state. And we noticed he had a very strong ability to do faces. And so we decided to bring some masters of Brazilian culture and do their faces in ceramics. So, for example, the musician Nana Vasconcelos, he did him. And then the wife of Nana was so impressed, and then she said, no, it's a better than a 3D printing machine. So then they decided to be Isabella Loca and other artists. So we didn't want to shed light to the already famous artists, consecrated artists, but we wanted to shed light to some artists that are not so much well known, but that has the power, the ability, such a strong potency of a wealth of art. And these artists should be making so much leading places. So we suggested that as homages, as besides this aspect of marketing of our work, to introducing these artists, we also have a YouTube channel where we've conducted a curatorship of over 1,000 films. All these films were selected. They're not our production. We just created a catalog. And inside this catalog, you can ask, what's the difference between 2 forms of maracatu? Or I don't know what is a horse, a fish, or regarding the bands of the seahorse, or the bands that play percussion with Brazilian instruments like pumpkin bark, or regarding these poems of Brazilian poems called repente, which are popular poetry. So there are these films that document. We organized these registers that were available on YouTube. Others we organized, and we have also our Spotify playlists, which is a more recent project. So we created a series of playlists within Spotify so that people can have availability, a way to enter the universe and start to get to know these different sort of sounds of Brazil, such as carimbó, tambor de mina, siriá. In the same way, we speak about the dances of the south of Brazil called milongas or the Pantanal call. So our desire is to also make our music available. So this to show the wealth of production regarding music in Brazil, both contemporary as previous decades, centuries, instead of focusing on this mass culture that comes from abroad. So our goal is so that this is part of the people's day-to-day life. First the Brazilian people, but little by little we are building the bridge with the people abroad. So in order that this aesthetics becomes part of our lives, and also in their own cities where these artists produce, and part of the children of our lives of our children, instead of watching Netflix, be able to watch a ciranda or a milonga, because we acknowledge that, okay, we are white, we are privileged, we had some education, but we see that the culture produced by the people vibrates, When you go to the Maracatu accounting, you see that you are not able to create such a pulsating culture, such an alive culture, and they have that because they have this narrative of so much pain. So this pulsates within them. This disputes, social dissatisfactions. We are not capable of producing such an intense culture, but they are. And we must focus, turn our eyes there and help other peoples that didn't have such a chance to realize how big, how huge is their wealth of culture.
Viajar sem sair de casa, né? Então,
and even more now during this pandemic, to travel without leaving our homes. So turn available such media that are free, as well as these works of art. We make sure that their works are affordable. There are many galleries or people that works with art that places a huge profit margin, but this is not our goal. Of course, we have to pay our investment, which is a high investment for us to be able to gather all this material, but our politics, our goal is to make this accessible, that these pieces enter the homes of people in their daily lives.
tempo.
A gente não sabe.
Eu imagino que
Passo
já
para a
acabou.
Flávia. Eu acho que assim, a gente pode agora passar, né, para a Vitória, e aí depois a gente retorna com perguntas para vocês, tá?
So how are we in time? So now let's give the floor to Victoria, and then we come back to you with the questions and answers. So this was the presentation of the principles behind this first project called NAU Cultural, the special projects included in these June activities. And now I'm going to give the floor to Victoria Michelini.
Minha documentação aqui, a Vitória Michelini, que é arquiteta e urbanista, cofundadora do...
Victoria is an artist and urbanism, co-founder of the 3+ Cool Lab, researcher at Cultural and Urban Resistance Lab, and TU Berlin, and at the Urbanism, Criticism and Architecture of the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. So now, Victoria, please feel free to, the floor is yours. Thank you, Flavia. Thank you all. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I'm going to speak on behalf of Memories of the Future. Gabriel Miranda, Luiz Eduardo Raiol, Gabriela Ruri, and Melanie Martins are the creators. We are the creators, besides under the supervision of Mônica Barriachil and Rubens de Andrade, as well as Pedro Victor Costa. I'm going to now introduce our projects to you.
Estão vendo tudo direitinho?
Acho que se você... agora sim, está em tela cheia. Obrigada.
Bom, então, primeiro eu vou passar para vocês um teaser desse nosso projeto e depois eu vou falar um pouquinho.
So, can you see very well? I'm going to first I'm going to speak about this project and mention that 6 videos are already available on YouTube. First of all, I'm going to talk with you regarding the creation of the project, a succession of ideas and events that led us to build this whole.
Agora começou a gravar. Vou aceitar ele, então, gente.
Fazer é um patrimônio também.
É quando a gente percebe que a humanidade está no fim que a gente começa a pensar sobre isso.
Ao tempo inteiro tentam dizer que a gente veio da escravidão. E eu ao tempo inteiro...
They try to speak that we came from slavery, and I kept on saying that that's not our origin. So you create your inks? Yes, I do. How important it is to create spaces in which our bodies are not violated. Survival, past, and today.
Tem professor meu que gostava de falar isso, o Walter Lima Jr. Depois que acaba o filme, as pessoas conversam sobre ele.
Cada vez mais é necessário ter esses processos de horizontalidade.
We need to have increasing more horizontal projects that don't give an answer, but that works as a species of invitation for us to be together and build something together.
Bom, então agora a gente tem essa prévia, né?
We have this idea of what this project was, Memories of the Future. There is this web series of 12 episodes, and which is speaking with these artists that you see on the screen. And then it's going to unfold in different ways. It was born based on this convention regarding heritage, under this theme of new approaches in heritage in Brazil. So to build these new approaches, what Monica and Rubens had taught and that offered us, it was that to bring new people, young people to this debate, people that not usually in this sort of arena, and then can add to it. And so then we bring these artists and we shared all our issues with artists, majority of young artists in the phase of research, consolidation, and artists of different fields of activities such as painters, writers, directors. We start to build based on their specific point of view, unique point of view regarding memory or heritage. We build together a broad approach based on their points of view and specific landscapes. So we had this idea of speaking of these artists, we select them all, we reflect on their art production, artists that questioned the notion of colonialism, that brought ancestrality to regarding theme and visibility of certain landscape, democratization of territories, so reflect on how this project could be very rich. Spend a day with all of them, and then to be face to face with all of them. But then we are in 2021, pandemic, quarantine, and we have 2 months of deadline to place all these ideas into a work. So the solution was to make use of Zoom, promote these listenings, these dialogues through Zoom meetings or other platforms such as WhatsApp calls. In our mind, we kept thinking, we are already in 2021, 1 year of pandemic. So we are already overloaded with Zoom conversations. So we reflected on how to promote this debate in a less bureaucratic way, in a more humane way. And therefore, these two artists, they let us enter their homes. They introduced to us their homes. They offered coffee and cheese bread. They showed us their work environments. They showed us a little bit their methodology of creation. So in this way, we have a series of conversations regarding urgent themes when we think of future legacy, how the story that we are building can be revisioned and analyzed again, and so that we can choose how civil society could be more active in building memory, in building and participative regarding these heritage words. How can we not let, how mustn't we allow the allow us, we must not allow ancestrality to die. How can we do that?
E por fim, a gente chega nessa imagem que a gente desenvolveu, essa nossa logo.
To conclude, we reach this image that we have developed. It's our logo. It talks about an intervention that connects all the important pieces of the project, which is time. To create it, we are not, our foundation is not linear time, but a circular time, which we don't know what's behind, what is in front. What must we value more, the past, the present, the future? And based on these ideas, this questioning, we think we must give more importance to what is heritage to us. And for that, we need a new approach, a new vision. And this is what we tried to this is what we did in Memories of the Future project. Thank you very much.
Muito obrigada. Sim, está comigo a palavra, né? Obrigada. Eu agradeço pela.
Thank you for the presentation of both of you. Now we can move on to the questions or promote a dialogue regarding the questions that you brought up. The first thing that I was very interested in getting to know was some ideas that arose that in some ways structure the relationship between the project and the artist, which is coloniality, ancestrality, memory, past, future, and how in this project these ideas appear mediated by the issues of the contemporaneity and the context of the pandemic. I kept asking myself that, considering this project, this appeared more in Victoria's explanation, but also regarding NAU Cultural, I wanted to ask how this has been a challenge for you, how to rethink our relationship with the past and the ancestrality, and this aspect of coloniality that seems to be more tense during the pandemic. The challenges that we see ourselves today to be a Brazilian person, and so how heritage, how the agenda of heritage, memory, inheritance as a political agenda appear to you. Isabella mentioned it's better to watch Brazilian culture than to watch Netflix. So, as regarding the dimension of thinking culture, so I kept asking myself, to what extent the pandemic had increased this issue of the coloniality, the colonialism as a political agenda in regards to your commitment with national heritage in its political dimension, democratization. So this is a question maybe Rubens wants to speak about it, or Monica?
Pedro, Gabriel.
So Melanie, Pedro, Gabriel, Luiz Eduardo, Vitória, Felipe. Please, if you want to speak about this idea, let's talk about it, discuss this theme.
Então, Flávia, para o nosso projeto, a gente já estava há muito tempo fazendo, né, os registros, as viagens. Então, quando veio a pandemia...
We have been registering, traveling since a long time. So with the pandemic, we stopped and we kind of gather all the material. And Felipe has in his computer a huge library of videos that we hadn't had the ability of stop and make this available to all. So the pandemic was an invitation so that we should not go so much outside, because we participated in so many events and fairs as well, and travels, and created therefore a way to share this. We also thought about a method of distributing the copyright. So we decided to use the platform of YouTube and Spotify. So it's a way of connecting directly to the artist and his material. And also in our shop, where we resale the works of art, we had a huge growth during the pandemic. I believe that the fact that people are at home opened their perception to the elements that are in our own home environment, and the weight that one piece of art can add to this environment. So today we don't need to travel to bring in the works of art. We already had established a whole logistics of transportation and delivery through this already implemented system. So for us, the pandemic was a new stage of work. Sorry to interrupt, but beyond the practical aspects of the pandemic, that meant to you an opportunity to process the material or of making this material available and people to access it. But my question was more in direction of to what extent the heritage, the pieces of art connect to this immediate environment and these immediate meanings and identity processes linked to our past. So, to what extent the pandemic has mobilized issues of political actions regarding heritage? For example, the fact that everybody is willing to buy more pieces of art regarding this realm of production means a political, some sort of political change in behavior.
Né? E a gente tem uma pergunta também da Vera, que pergunta se vocês podiam passar vídeos.
Professor Vera Tangari also has a question for you to show your videos so that we can watch them here in our meeting today. Yes, I believe that people start to have more interests. There is a kind of an opening of sensibilities regarding such works, not only regarding the pandemics, but also regarding the political scenario in which we are. Like people mobilize because the government is like having so much authoritarianism. So artists are also getting organized, both practical ways as well as in the realm of ideas. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to give the microphone to the Memories of the Future team. And if you want to get ready to prepare, if possible, some of your videos, it would be so interesting.
Vitória e os outros, se quiserem falar alguma coisa nesse sentido.
Bom dia, boa tarde a todos. Eu sou Melanie, da equipe Treco.
Good morning, good afternoon to all. I'm Leonie. I also participated in the Memories of the Future project. And I'm going to answer to your question, Flavia, from what the artists have answered to us. Because along the process, we learned with them so much. So during the pandemic, we thought, let's do these videos online, and this is going to be an experience that other people are going to be able to access. So one of the artists proposed a reflection, which was how dangerous the pandemic was, how dangerous it was for the originary peoples, the Kaisara culture populations, people that don't have this digital inclusion that we have, that allows us to be chatting here today. So it's an important articulation that took place during the pandemic was the articulation for the indigenous people's struggle. And they speak, let's demarcate the screens and occupy the internet. So to build this memory and bring in people that are not inserted in the digital inclusion. We asked such artists how you can contribute with these people that might not have access to the digital realm. So this was an aspect that we had with the artists regarding the dangers that the pandemic brought about to these peoples and our ancestral memories, and how we could harness the virtual equipment to debate and bring visibility to those that are invisible. I think it's also important to call the attention adding a layer to these issues that Melanie had just mentioned, that right in the beginning, myself and Monica, we had very intriguing agendas to ask such artists. We kept discussing for hours what was the element that could trigger these new approaches in heritage to these artists, what could trigger that reflection, and how these artists within their own life paths propose in their art expressions, visual arts, dance, music, curatorship, how could this connect with the propositions that we had placed? Myself, Monica, as well as Mel, that right in the beginning entered the project with a lot of interest in articulating. So what just talked about such identities and complexities that we experience here in Brazil. Monica was shed light to what we could retrieve from content in the artists, so that they could express themselves within this realm of reflections in the videos that you are going to be able to see on YouTube. I just want to add two very important aspects that are that these works, that they revive local identities. And as you're going to be able to see in the videos of the cultural memories, that you're able to perceive that they bring about tensions that are inherent to our current times. They dialogue with this issue of the crisis of aesthetics in Brazil, which is also the aesthetics of our crisis, of our political and social crisis, and of this opening hugely the inequalities of Brazil. They shed light to this cracking open of this situation. Now talks about these roots. I really appreciated what Gonçalo, one of the artists that Memórias had brought to us. He speaks about aesthetics, honesty. I really appreciated that reflection. So these artists of the now, they bring to us this aesthetics, honesty, and they bring in all the tensions that are present today. Issues that are social issues of how to see the world, from the approach of, from the under the look of the artists. And so our goal is that this project continues, that this is a pilot project, that we can include other artists, and that this unfolds in different ways, bringing in other visions. Our goal is to be inclusive, really.
Bastante, né? Os próprios princípios do projeto e os pontos de partida. Eu queria passar para os outros, antes da gente
passar.
Yes,
this shed light to the principles of the project. Thank you very much. So before showing the videos, I'd like to maybe ask if other actors of the Memórias want to speak. Would you like me to share a video? Yes. So, yes, sure. Let me show the first video of our series.
Agora, Vitória, também seria legal ouvir um pouquinho Gabriel e Pedro, né, sobre os processos que vocês trouxeram também nessa experiência.
I wonder if Gabriel and Pedro wants to speak a bit also regarding their experience. I think that one of the most interesting aspect of making this video is that we had chosen artists of different fields of action, such as poetry, visual arts, so artists from different states of Brazil, like Curitiba, Rio de Janeiro. So see how this crossing interactions. So everybody came together. So it was very interesting, so that we could also build our own visual narrative. It was very interesting also to have the artists collaborate with the creation of these videos. So they helped us to create non-conventional videos. They helped us build a narrative even about themselves. So it was a very intense exchange, very beautiful exchange process. The pandemic also shed light to this virtual environment. So there is always this debate between the importance of the virtual world versus the real world, even regarding such communities that are not too much included in the virtual situation. The pandemic obliges us to explore the virtual realm and allowed us to do many things. And many artists, such as Emélio Geddes, that talks a lot about the Caiçara populations. He described the construction of the canoe, and he talks about this ancestrality, ancestral knowledge that is conveyed traditionally. And today, the virtual world is essential for us to build these relations. So, for example, the director got in touch with the Caiçara populations in the Facebook. And the Caiçaras, on the other hand, they were the festival of the tainha fish. And so they shared all their fishing, all their works, their rituals of fishing in the Facebook. So there is a really symbiotic exchange between the virtual world and the virtual world. We were able that in 2 weeks speak with 12 artists. So artists spread out throughout Brazil, the huge territory of Brazil. And so it allowed us to establish important relations beyond the primordial world, which is the physical world.
O Luiz Dorei falou, dos artistas que a gente entrevistou também.
One of the artists that we interviewed, Luiz Dorei, he said that most probably the heritages that are generated today are going to speak the languages of today, such as like the virtual languages, even respecting the Twitter limit of 240 characters, something that now, in the pandemic context, increased hugely. So let me share the video.
Eu vou queria só falar da... Ah, tá.
Não, fala, Pedro.
Pedro, por favor.
E o primeiro episódio é o episódio da Nélia Azevedo, que é uma artista plástica.
Nélia Azevedo features the first episode. She's a visual art, and she produced a series called Minimal Monument, in which she questions this very idea of monument. It's good to start this series with her because she starts questioning these ideals, the structures that we are discussing now here. So shall we invite people to watch the videos on YouTube? Because we have done a huge effort to place the 6 episodes in the channel of New Approaches Heritage and Hybrid Landscapes. So shall we watch it here today or show the videos? That's according to what you want. Mônica, what do you think?
Eu também não entendo desses assuntos tão técnicos. Acho que seria melhor a gente ver como ande, mas eu acho que não tem problema não. A gente pode passar o vídeo agora sim, né? Enquanto isso, também Isabela e Felipe vão vendo se eles podem.
Yeah, let's watch the video. I think it's a good idea.
Eu acho que seria simpático. Então, a Vitória...
Então, vamos embora, Vitória.
Passam, depois o Felipe e a Isabela passam. Obrigada.
Vamos lá, então.
É lindo, porque a história ela pode ser reeditada, ela pode ser revista. A gente está vivo, pode reeditar. Isso é lindo. Meu nome é Nélia Azevedo, eu sou artista visual. Me encaminhei para as artes visuais já na maturidade, quer dizer, eu entrei...
So you can read the subtitles, please.
Moro em São Paulo e vivo para fazer arte. Inteiramente. Eu fiz um trabalho cujo título é A História Não é o Terreno da Felicidade. E são 3 esculturas congeladas juntas num pier, assim, diante do mar. Uma é a água pura, outra é em barro preto do mangue, o barro escuro do mangue, e outra em urucum, que a pintura era usada pelos tupinambás que habitavam a ilha. Os 3 derretem juntos diante do mar, né? Eles em tempos diferentes, mas todos derretem e voltam para o mar. São as 3 matrizes da formação desse povo que chamamos brasileiros, desse lugar que nós chamamos Brasil. Foi uma história da barbárie, da supremacia branca contra os demais. Deveríamos ter aprendido com a história, mas não aprendemos, né? Para ter consciência de patrimônio e memórias, tem que ter um lugar de fala. A história dos vencidos, ela precisa ser contada, né? E acho que o que faz a riqueza de um lugar é a pluralidade de histórias. A floresta é um exemplo, assim, né? A floresta ela é um exemplo de convivência, coexistência, com tudo junto e crescendo e florescendo. O que me inquietou para fazer o Monumento Mínimo foi exatamente andar na cidade e ver os monumentos que não tinham nada a ver com a vida das pessoas comuns, né? Então eram muito distantes. Foi essa distância entre a vida e os monumentos ali colocados pelo poder que me provocou a criar o contrário, né? Opor todas as características do monumento. A primeira coisa que eu quebrei foi a escala. Não queria nada grande, porque o grande está ligado ao poder. Então, eu não queria nada grande. Não homenagear ninguém, nenhuma pessoa em particular, porque quando você olha para o monumento, ele está nomeado, você que não está nomeado. Então, eu era sem rosto para homenagear todas as pessoas, sem distinção, né? E no final da pesquisa, eu encontro o gelo, e aí um monumento que é feito para a eternidade, eu faço um para desaparecer. Mas, ao mesmo tempo, ele retoma uma função original do monumento, que é lembrar que a gente morre. Quando eu levo o Monumento Mínimo para cidades, e isso já foram vários lugares no mundo, acontece algo entre as pessoas que é uma coisa meio mágica, assim. Então, é um pouco ritualística, porque ela retoma, mas num outro nível. E ela lembra que somos mortais, mas lembra da delicadeza, lembra da vida. É uma celebração da vida. criação, que coloca o homem que vai reinar sobre as aves do céu, os peixes na água, ele é o rei da natureza, né? Então, é essa posição dada por esse mito da criação, coloca ele nesse lugar e ele pensa que ele está aqui, que isso é infinito. A gente se dá conta de que isso não é verdade agora com as questões climáticas. Os povos originários, ao contrário, a terra é fonte da vida, é mãe e é dádiva. Agora, o nome dos povos indígenas eu já estava abordando e a minha intenção é abordar todos os nomes como uma espécie de homenagem, né, aos povos da floresta, porque nomear é homenagear também, né? Nomear e tornar público. Eu queria cobrir prédios, tudo em nomes em Guarani, em nomes dos povos, tudo para encher a cidade. A gente tem muito na nossa língua e não considera, né? Então ele ajudou na formação do povo e é completamente ignorado. Ao final, a vida é patrimônio, né? A história viva é patrimônio. Acho que mais isso do que construir coisas. Vou aproveitar para indicar aqui um artigo da Ana Buarque de Holanda. Ela diz assim: na minha visão, de todos os setores culturais que vêm sendo sistematicamente desmantelados, as áreas ligadas à memória, em especial o IFAM, são e serão as mais afetadas. A arte não depende do governo para ser criada. Os artistas se mobilizam e reagem. Deixam de se apresentar em grandes produções, mas resistem e voltam sempre mais fortes e criativos. Se centenas de bens tombados pelo IFAM forem destruídos ou descaracterizados, a memória artística e cultural do passado do nosso país nunca mais se reconstruirá. Talvez seja por isso que eu escolhi muito trabalhar no efêmero, sabe? Assim, eu estou viva aqui agora e é com isso que eu vou lidar.
É fantástico, né? Muito interessante mesmo.
So interesting. Her work, fantastic. So now I'm going to give the floor to the people of NAU for them to introduce their videos.
Eu vou tentar fazer aqui, gente, mas eu peço desculpas que a nossa internet aqui não é das melhores. A gente está no interior de Minas.
I'll try here, but I will apologize because our internet connection is not that good. Let's see if we are able to watch.
Se não funcionar, de repente melhor alguém compartilhar.
Oh, Andrelina, os seus olhos são azuis. Oh, Andrelina, parece o azul do céu. Oh, Andrelina, quando eu te avistei. Oh, Andrelina.
NAU Cultural on the roads of Brazilian popular culture. So I asked him, you were born an artist. The wood is dead, but inside it there is something alive, my look. So if you take earth to make an object, a doll, what was difficult was to tell a story. So we started to start the story of the Northeast situation, the drought, poverty, street fairs, circus. So using the clay to create puppets, or I think that I'm like my father. He used to do these couples, but I updated because then I started to put men with men, women with women. This is a traditional clay image figured. So sometimes we are stressed with our day-to-day lives, and working here is like a therapy. And that those that see the message conveyed in this piece of art, you don't need to have any teaching. The piece speaks for itself. My father used to build canoes, and we used to play with the canoe in the river. So no, I did not know I had such ability. Whatever someone think of, I can make. Our destiny was the culture of Brazil's inland. Now, cultural now. Fantastic work as well. I see that beyond the reflection brought about by the artist, it's so interesting to see the material they use to problematize heritage in Brazil, how diverse they are, and how they challenge so much the restricted ideas of heritage. So I really believe this must be disseminated the most. All of us must spread out because it's a huge, it can have a huge impact in our ability to show these new approaches national-wise and as well as internationally. This mobilizes the meaning of heritage, globally speaking. Flávia, please, can Professor Mônica say something? I'd like to ask a question for her. So, considering that we are in an internet regime, I'd like to say that Monica started this movement thinking of such approaches so that we are not restrained to the academic realm. So, Monica, could you talk about your vision of the potential of these discussions, considering the international environment together with you developing this project of new heritage approaches? Well, I see that we are doing here practically what we have been discussing with our colleagues throughout the world. So, how to bring in civil society to this realm of heritage, and how to engage the traditional communities, how to engage the different voices that are not heard, that are denied. And I see that these two projects that we brought about today, and that also we are bringing in tomorrow, another two projects, they show exactly that this discussion has already been permeating in Brazil and intriguing our youth. This is a wealth of culture, and I want to thank the team of NAU Cultural, or Cultural Ship, Felipe and Isabella, as well as of Memories of the Future team, Melanie, Victoria, Pedro, Gabriel, and all of those that participated. I want to really congratulate all of you, and I'm very proud of you. I have to say that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I believe that Monica had expressed all that were my thoughts regarding this. I think we are about to conclude our conversation. I'm already following everyone in the social media immediately, and I think that we should all do the same. I really encourage you to watch the videos. I'm already disseminating those videos that have reached my inbox, and I think that we have an important work to do in this sense, to reflect on there is this idea, this dichotomy of good and bad heritage. No, that's not about that. We need to be activists in this regard, and we must really operate. And I see you doing this in an incredible way. I want to congratulate Monica and Rubens that within all this that you're already doing, all these fronts of action that you are already showing such a broad scope of work. I'm really admiring your work. So, if anyone wants to speak, please feel free. Otherwise, we are open for you.
A palavra está com vocês, se quiserem ainda fazer alguma consideração final.
Eu só quero reforçar, Flávia, que todo mundo realmente vá lá no canal do YouTube do Heritage, vai lá no canal do YouTube do Paisagens Híbridas também.
Então, I just want to mention that you should go to the hybrid landscapes and to the new approaches heritage, because there we have all the videos available for you to watch. Thank you so much. Don't take the opportunity and watch such work, incredible work. So, thank you so much. Tomorrow we will have our next session of special projects, and I want to invite all of you to be here to participate and honor this work. So, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to you all, and let's continue with these June activities of new heritage approaches. Thank you very much for all of you that have been here. And thank you, Flavia, for moderating this session. Good afternoon. Bye.